Stone, let's get you up.
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot, not a whole lot. Thanks for jumping on.
Sure.
So, like, I did one of these calls this time last month with Mike Salvioni. I think it was a little longer actually because it was before he came to Ibiza and he just finished up his 5 weeks here, where we kind of ran through his journey. We've done them before, where we kind of look at okay, where were you when you had no gigs, however many years ago? Where are you now? And let's piece it together and go, what were the bits that really worked for you that you doubled down on, that really got you traction? And I want to kind of break down on them and kind of share them with everybody so people can take what they like and leave what they don't. Does that sound good with you?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
I love it. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's set. If I jump in and get some iPad on the go, like let's set two sides of the story, right? Because really, what people will find useful is the middle bit. But in order to find it useful, we need to know the start and we need to know the end. Well, it's not the end, but it's where you are right now. So the end of the past, which is this call. Uh, and so what then we can fill it in with the middle. So let's start with the start, okay? Like if we're gonna look back to Stone that has really no gigs or the odd gig, but not really, when would that be? When was the nearest that version of Stone existed?
I think maybe like 3 years ago.
So 2021.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was COVID, but even just after that, uh, yeah, like 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years ago. Okay, yeah, perfect. I think you jumped in with fully booked. It was the launch we did around July 2021, which was still in COVID, but stuff was coming in and out of it. Does that sound right?
Yeah, correct. Exact.
Yeah, because I think when you'd spotted me and I beat the week before and you'd mailed me to see was it me, and I remember that's how we started the conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, and so back then we were like, how often were you playing?
Maybe like once a month or once every 2 months, something like
Okay.
this.
Okay. Uh, and releases, were you releasing then?
Yeah, I was.
So like 1 gig, let's say 1 gig every 1 to 2 months.
Yeah.
And like the caliber of the gigs, were they like okay, shit, great?
Average depends. Sometimes I had, yeah, like opening slots for like, but they were all local, like local, where in Paris, where I grew up and where I
Yep.
was based till like, yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay, perfect. Um, so let's hop forward and like let's look at we're kind of 3 years later. So or yeah, 3 years later. What's the highlight? So you're just back off the India tour,
Yeah.
and that's the second year on the trot.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So for the last, I think, year and a half, I've been touring pretty much everywhere, like South America, Middle East, um, a little bit of Asia was, yeah, like India, Europe. Yeah.
All over. And also I mean you've put in for the artist visa for the States as well to begin touring there.
Yeah, I'm granted now, so
Oh hey, congratulations.
thank you.
The last time we spoke, you were waiting for the word back.
Yeah,
Uh, so that's granted. When did you get that news?
in late June.
I love it. Okay, and so do we have any word on what's going to happen there? Do we have some tours coming up?
Yeah, we're working on it. Like have a an agency there, so they're really working on that, and hopefully we can start having a tour really soon.
Okay, so you've got the US agent locked in.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so if we had told this version of you that in 3 years' time we would be dealing with this version of you, Uh, like, how happy would that have made you?
Yeah, like super happy, super grateful. Um, it's all I wanted, like travel was music. So
Yeah. Or like, how many DJs do I speak to and they say this is what they want? Like this, I want
hmm
this more than anything else. But I think it
yeah.
just feels out of reach for so many people. They feel like it's not actually possible.
Right.
Uh, okay, so let's start with this version of you. So, when we were at this point, what do you think were you doing wrong? Why were you only getting 1 or 2 gigs a month?
So I thought that as like, an artist, a promoter should approach me.
Yeah,
And I was really focused on the music, putting the music out there, but nobody would really, like come to my DMs or like send me emails to get uh, bookings, So I didn't really understand why was that happening because I was still having like some okay numbers of streams, and I was signed to Warner, like major labels in France for a bit. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating, and at that time I was focused more like open music, like music with vocals for like the radios, trying to get on the radios on the Spotify playlist, trying to be in that game. And
is
when
that the game you wanted to be in musically? Was that the direction you wanted to go down, or were you going down that route because you thought it would get you more gigs?
exactly, so I was, yeah, kind of following what the major label would tell me and be like, yeah, we need radios, we need uh mm, Spotify playlists so you can like get bigger and hopefully have like a hit song.
Right.
That was their strategy to get me a hit song, and then eventually an agent and stuff.
Yes, it's this like it's this. We hear this over and over and over again. It's the cliched route. It's the route. If you ask any artist ever, look, how do you think you'll make it? Well, releases are important. I'm gonna have to release. I'm gonna have to have that big track. We've discussed it a million times. Big
Yeah.
track comes, and then fuck me, I'm gonna play a gig every minute for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out like that. Uh, Okay, so you're waiting for gigs, frustrated, and waiting for a hit, right? So if you didn't change the way you did things and you stuck on this route, um, what do you think? How do you think it would have worked out? Honestly, do you think it would have worked by now, or do you think you'd still be spinning the wheels on the same? It's
No,
hard to know.
yeah, I think I would have probably been stuck on the same path. And um well, I mean, yeah, like I think COVID also, yeah, make me really understand what I really wanted to focus on. And honestly, when I was playing gigs, I was not even playing my own records because they were, yeah, like too kind of commercial for me. So I was like, okay, and it's probably because I like more other type of music and I should be making that type of music. And also at this time, because I didn't have a hit with Warner, they told me like, okay, let's maybe stop the contract. And then I was back on my own, like an independent artist. And I was like, okay, now I'm just gonna do the music I want and the music I can play to the gigs also.
Okay.
And one friend of me, um, another artist, also at that time I was really struggling with the gigs, and he was also starting to get gigs and play a lot. And he told me eh, like, okay, you don't have gigs at the moment, but does anybody else plays your music? Is anybody, any other artist, a big artist or even like a smaller artist, is anyone playing your music out there? Like, and I was like, you know what, no, actually I'm not even playing it and nobody else is playing it, so I'm just nobody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And you're not even getting the enjoyment out of your music because you're not making it for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so What changed? What was the first thing that changed? Let's go through it sequentially.
Yeah. So first thing first, I started to make edits, like remixes of famous songs that I enjoyed, songs that I was listening to in my childhood and stuff.
Yep.
Mostly like house songs, like but I was remixing them in like progressive melodic style,
Okay.
which was the genre like that I really liked at this moment, that I
Sure.
really wanted to pursue and play. And yeah, I just dropped them like a lot of edits, a lot of free downloads on SoundCloud just to build my profile there and try to get people to play my songs, you know.
So
And
were we doing these when you were dropping them on SoundCloud? And by the way, everybody that's on the call, as we're going through this, if you have any questions or you have things that you want to dive deeper on, drop them in the chat and I'll ask Stone. You were dropping these on SoundCloud free. Were you doing them as the hype gate and collecting the emails straight away, or did that come later?
um yeah, correct. So at first I used an someone else, so my friend actually who built his own channel called Take Me Home, and he built this channel, yeah, to promote free downloads, and he would collect the emails and everything, but he would put me also my SoundCloud, my Spotify in the gate, so it was kind of like they had the database, and they were sending out the emails to like 10,000 plus DJs with my music, my edits, and we would both benefit from it. So yeah, I started like this and then slowly moved to releasing my edits on my own to grow also my email list.
So that was with a hype gate.
Yes, correct.
So we used the hype gate.
Edits is like bootleg. Yes, it's a bootleg, exactly. Someone asked in the chat.
So I'm going to let you explain that better than I will because you've been releasing them. I mean, we all know the copyright on the edits. It's a gray area. They either let you live or die depending on how they're feeling. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so if you're not commercially releasing it, you're right. It's like a kind of a gray area. So if you're dropping them on SoundCloud with free download, it's not really that you're selling it, you're just giving it away. So unless SoundCloud strikes you for like copyright robot, automatic robot recognizing the vocal, or if the label comes to you and be like, hey, you're not allowed to, you know, remix this song, nobody's gonna say anything beside them personally, and they have other cats to catch, you know.
Yeah,
So um
other cats to fry. Uh,
yeah, exactly, that's the expression. So personally I've had issues, but after was like one track that I can explain later. It was like much later on.
Okay. Well, yeah. So let's just clear that for Heiko and Ryan. So, like, guys, the one thing I'd say is with this kind of thing, the mashup, the bootleg, whether it's a free download or it's just been a part of dance music culture always since the day it was founded. I mean, the in the vinyl days, if half your record box wasn't full of white labels, you know, it wasn't, and they were all just bootlegs. They were white labels because nobody wanted to say what was on them. You know, there was you might have an artist name stamped on them, you might not. It's part of the culture, and quite. I mean, there's some examples like Lee Walker, Freak Like Me, for example. That was just a bootleg and a mashup that went out, and then they get so big that the label will come and say, "Hey, let's release this." Otherwise, you're usually you're left to your own devices. It's sometimes there's labels like Defected where something will get so big that they won't even approach you. They'll just remake it themselves because they already own the masters or they own the copyright, and you'll see your bootleg getting an official release without you involved. But that's the risk you take doing bootlegs. But you'll be completely fine on a legal basis. Uh, Okay. So next step. So we started releasing that. Where was the first bit of success that you had with it, or that you've seen that it was working?
Well, as I was releasing them, I would see like more people coming to my SoundCloud just from this and growing my following there, but also on the other platforms like Spotify, growing my followers there, and on Instagram as well. People will start tagging me with like videos when they would play it, because most people who are downloading from a hyperedit, they're DJs, right?
Yeah.
So I started connecting with a lot of other DJs that were spinning my edits, and I think it was the Silence Delirium Silence remix
Yeah.
who got like the first really good feedback. I had like Tiesto playing it on his radio show Club Life,
Okay.
and that was, yeah, that was a bootleg, and and Tiesto made a remix of this song, you know. So y- I was like, wow, that's something. Um,
100%.
yeah, and then just kept adding, and like Tiesto, then Korolova started playing it, Fidelis, um, yeah, like more and more big DJs started also catching it, and that's when I saw like the potential of the bootlegs.
So this was Delirium was the first one where you seen lots of big acts play it.
Yes, right.
Okay. Uh, and
Which
so,
which eventually we got this one released officially.
okay. And so, yeah, yeah, they came to you and you did an official release. So that
Yeah,
paid off. Let's pull it
yeah.
back, right? So let's say you've started pushing your hype bits or your free downloads. DJs are
Hmm.
downloading them when they're playing them. The motivated ones are tagging it.
Yeah.
And so you started connecting with these guys on DMs because this is the ultimate
Uh-huh.
cheese. Like when we talk about cheese, it's you've got something that they want. You know, they're already playing your music. You're an authority figure to them without even you realizing it. You know, you're still in the studio thinking that you're nobody, and they're on the other side of it thinking that you're somebody. And
Yeah.
neither of you know which one's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So
Exactly.
you started connecting with them on DMs. How did that go? What was the initial outreach like? Were you reaching out to them, or were they reaching out to you?
Well, every time someone was tagging me or like following me and I see he's a DJ and probably comes from the free download, I would just hit them up, or reply to their mention and be like, "Oh, hey, thanks for playing. I really appreciate." And then start maybe a little conversation like, "Oh, it's nice to see you play this in in the club." I would also instantly like repost them
Yeah.
and tag like the event and the club that they were performing at, so that they also maybe see me, and just connecting with those DJs and getting conversation, chatting slowly with, okay, where you from, where you based, and nice. Well, I'm trying to get myself out there. Maybe you can help me get a show there, because those there are resident DJs, so the resident DJs also do most of the bookings for their own residency, you know, for the club where they're playing. Um, so that was one initial way. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about the first time that worked, right? So, and like it's a beautiful chain of events. You've put out your free download. Somebody's downloaded it. They've found it of their own volition. And they've started playing it. So they tag you. You reach out and and say, "Hey, can you help me get a booking?" First time it worked. How did that go?
It was like almost instant, like, yes, you know, like, like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna talk to the club and let you know.
Okay. What venue went first? Tell us about the first gig. Where was it?
Um, I don't know. Let me try to refound.
Or if you can, even one of the first ones. Were these international?
Uh-huh. Okay, okay, okay. I think it was in Poland.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a DJ who was organizing his own events, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went to Poland first, and like let's talk about that deal, right? Because you're still in your head, you're still studio stone, you're like you're not touring, you're not playing gigs.
Yeah.
Like I said, you think you're one thing and he thinks you're the other. So how did that deal work out? Was there payment? Was there flights? Was there hotel? What was there?
It was not like a money, like really good money deal. It was more like, hey, we can pay you, like the flights and your hotel. And like I think they gave me 150 on top of that.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, like you'll be looking at that as nothing now because you're touring. But for your first gig, even to have a promoter from the other side of the world say, "I'll fly you over, I'll put up your hotel, I'll just give you a gig," like those
yeah,
things are all beautiful at the start. To get 150 extra on top of it, like at the start, amazing.
yeah. I think it was like a 300 total deal. They
Okay,
booked me like a really cheap hotel, and just the flights were really cheap as well. So
okay, perfect. But now you're moving, now you're touring, you're getting some content up. It's starting to move.
yeah.
Okay, so like how many gigs do we think, like how quickly did this start to work? Was it just a one-off gig or did they start coming regular off this strategy?
Um, it started slowly, but because I was also building the relationships with the people, some of them were like, some of them happened like a couple of months later, but it started slowly adding up, like from 1 gig a month to 2 gigs a month to three to four, and mostly international ones. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because what really, the world is so big, what's the chances that the person that downloaded your track and tagged you lives close to you? Slim.
Yeah.
It's the
True.
it's the, it's the beauty of the strategy. Uh, and so like when I remember we did a training a couple of years ago where I talked about like fast and slow. And so, you've got if we think of the timeline where we have now and we have like let's say 2 years time, there's gigs that you can get which are now, and there's gigs that you can get later. And what we want to
Yeah.
do is we want to farm all the ones now because, hey, if we can get them now, great. But there's some gigs that we can get later that are going to take a while to build. And we want to focus on both. And it's all about building that pipeline. I said it so much when I was doing the pitching. It's you think you're getting one gig here now, and it's not making a difference. But next month you get two. The month after that you get two more. Then you start to get rebooked. And also
Yeah.
those five that you did in the first 3 months, you're getting more gigs in month 4, 5, and 6 because promoters are seeing you tour more. And it
Hmm.
starts building up where you're building up this pipeline of gigs. But before you know it, it starts to become quite significant. Is that how it felt for you, or did it feel different for you?
No, yeah, 100%. Exactly how it felt.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Uh, So, right, we're putting out these free downloads, and the gigs are starting to come in through DMs. What would you say was the next phase?
Um, I think I also tried some side strategies on top of that.
Okay, give me.
Um, yeah, so at that time I was starting fully booked. So I was implementing the program, and I started also the radio show, right? And I started, yeah, like inviting people on the radio show. I think I'm now on like episode 73 since.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so started a radio show. That was one strategy, inviting people. I had a couple radios, a really nice radio in France, Radio FG. I started with them. Now I work with Ibiza Global. And so I kept doing this also on the side, which helped me connect with more DJs and more, yeah, promoters. And then at that time, I also moved out of my hometown. I moved out of Paris and I went to Lisbon, where it was completely a new market for me. And I also started going out a lot, and Um, it's like it's a pretty small scene there, so I had friends already settled that were doing parties, so I started just playing a lot, just not only on the international but also on the local gigs there. But because I had some friends doing events, and because I was also not local for them, they were happy to book me. Um, yeah, where in the opposite, like having the same gigs over and over again in my hometown, sorry, was like really not really getting me anywhere else, you know, just
Yeah, it's this thing. I've said it over and over again on calls. It's really weird. Sometimes you need to just leave where you're from, go to another place, and play the exact same level of gig in that other place, but everybody perceives you different. You know, it's like
yeah.
to them, you're in their hometown and the gig is nothing. If they played a gig in your hometown, it would feel like, hey, I'm touring. It's just this weird thing. By moving location,
Hmm.
the esteem of the gig goes up, which is it's complete smoke and mirrors.
Exactly, yeah.
And
So
so do you think, sorry to cut across you, do you think this playing local, do you think when we talk about gigs breed gigs, did this regularity of gig, do you think that fed into your momentum?
oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So the next step.
The next step I think was mm, yeah, when I really had like a few success on the two bootlegs, the Delirium Silence,
Yeah.
that we got it official release, and then I had my first beatport number one.
Okay. Delirium Silence. Official release. So that was uh and I
2023.
know this. It was September 2nd,
Yes.
2023.
Yes.
I know this because we talked about this. We met on August 2nd, 2023, and you talked about how you wanted to be port number one. Um, we set the plan in place, and you texted me on September 2nd with two B port number ones.
Yeah.
So the strategy that you used got you Delirium Silence number one on one chart, and you had a different track number one on a different chart, right?
Yeah,
What was the
correct.
other track?
A bootleg of Reg by Ami.
Oh, Res. Okay, classic track. I remember that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that got an official release, or that just you the.
No, on this one we did what they call the cover version.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But same strategies. Like I released it at the bootleg, and I saw a lot of people started playing it. Masano, Kevin De Vries, a lot of our artists from Afterlife, and then the label approached us and was like, "Can we do like a cover version?" And then I was like, "Well, we need like a proper publishing clearance." So I mailed Ame's management team if they would want to release it officially first. You know, like always do that when you do a bootleg. Even when I still do just a bootleg, before dropping it free download, I still mail the original artist or the management team and say like, hey, I've just done this remix. Look at these DJs playing it there, there, there. I played it there. Look at this video, how it's working on the dance floor. And if they don't reply to me, I drop it for free download, you know.
Yeah.
But in that case, we had it free download first, and then seeing the success of it, I was like, okay, maybe it's worth it, like covering it, doing a cover version because I replayed the melodies and stuff. And the management team replied to me like 1 month after my email, like out of nowhere, they reply and they say like, hey, official remix is not doable, but you can do a cover version if you want. Just put us in like the publishing copyright lines, and you're free to release it on the platform. So we got it out, and that's where it got number one, on melodic techno chart.
I I love it.
Hype.
I love it. Okay, so like there was some there was some additional marketing you did on those two releases. Like we did the email campaign, which you couldn't have done if you hadn't have done at the very start. That's why I shout to people all the time. You need to be collecting emails, and people go, "Oh, it sounds like the most boring thing ever." But like such a tool. Now, dude, I don't believe that the reason you had two number ones at the same time was purely because of your email campaign. It's you know, it'll be one player on the field,
Yeah.
and there's there's a lot other there. But uh, can you speak to that for people that haven't got the email going yet? Like how useful a tool was that towards getting those Beatport number ones?
Yeah, it was absolutely, yeah, pretty much game changing because I've collected all the emails over time, and then now I have like a database of 7,000 people that downloaded my stuff back from, yeah, 2 years ago. And every time I send out a new release, now I can just mail them like, hey, look, this is new release. And we use, yeah, the strategy when it got out on Beatport. We use the strategy to like kind of be like, hey, I had new other tracks ready for release, other bootlegs that nobody had it, or it was mashups. I'm not sure, I don't recall, but one of those two. And I was like, hey, I've got more edits for you. Please, if you want to grab this Beatport, this track on Beatport, and help me, I'll send you. Just send me your receipt. I'll send you more of them. And I received, yeah, a lot of positive like emails like, hey, this here's your receipt, and people buying. I was like, wow, okay. And then of course, on top of that, the label also did a good job on the promotion, and and um and the stars aligned, like the planets aligned, sorry.
100%. 100%. The cat is out of the bag because I've not actually I haven't shared that strategy with anybody. We sat down, I did it for you, and Johnny Marksman has been doing it as well. And Johnny's been getting number ones right across the board as well. And like guys, it's you gotta have the music. The
Yeah.
music has to be there. But also it's like you've got to have the music. So if the music is shit, nobody's buying it. It doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter how many times you email me. If you email me shit, I'm not going to buy it. But then you also have to have the audience, right? So, like, I could call it an email list because that's what
Yeah.
it is. You've got them on an email. But if I have an email list of 10,000 people who don't give a fuck about my music, I can email them all I want, but they're not buying it. That's why its
Yeah.
audience is better. You said it there, Stone. You've been nurturing these people for a couple of years. They were all people that downloaded your tracks. And like you got to think through the steps here. We take it for granted, but in order to get on that email list, I need to find your music. I need to listen to it. I need to go, yes, that's me. Then I need to click the download button and go through all of the steps. And so if you have 7,000 people that have done that, and that's a great audience, and you're sending them music, and it's such a beautiful tool. So you've got that, but then rather than just sending them an email and saying, "Hey, I've got a release out," because how many times do we get spammed? It's
Yeah.
bribing them. It's an ethical bribe, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, look, I've got a release out. Everyone has a release out. I know you don't really care. I really care because it's my release, but I know all of you don't. So here's the thing. If you buy it, send me the receipt. Uh, and here, so step one, please buy it. Email me, reply to this email with the receipt. And three, XYZ, here's what I'll give you. I'll give you 10 unreleased tracks, or I'll give you the stems, or I'll give you this track that's not out next month. And it's just a little bribe.
Yeah.
And it kicks people into action, right?
Yeah, exact.
Okay, so we had the Beatport number ones. Um, talk to me about. I want to pull it back. So we're playing gigs. So let's say last year, let's just run through some of the cities that you played last year. Okay, uh,
Sure.
you obviously did Lisbon.
Yeah. I
Uh,
have I have my calendar. So I did Poland, then Lisbon, then Switzerland. Um, this gig I got in Switzerland, it's also nice to share the strategy. Pretty simple. I just had a friend who was a really close friend who was already playing there, and I just asked him like, "Hey, can you hook me up with the promoter there?" and he that's what he did, and that's what got me there. You know, sometimes it's not that complicated. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's a referral.
Yeah, it
But
was a referral exactly.
how often do we just not ask for the referral? That's the thing. It's like it is the simple things, but it's how often do we just not ask for it? Okay, so we got
Right.
Lisbon, Poland, Switzerland. Where else?
Um, and then yeah, at that time, oh, I forgot, but at that time I also did a DJ competition of Tomorrowland, and I won. And I played on I opened the main stage in Winter Edition 2000
Oh, look at
2023.
this. Look at this over here. Oh, I forgot to say, oh yeah, I opened the main stage on Tomorrowland. Forgot that part. Okay, so DJ competition, main stage, Tomorrowland Winter.
Yeah, yeah, that also helped me quite a lot. Yeah, of course.
Of course, that's going to be a great look. If gigs breed gigs, that's going to be a great gig.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we did Tomorrowland main stage. Where else?
After that, Lisbon. First Ibiza gig ever.
That was Eden, right?
It was Eden, exactly. I've
Yeah,
been spending all my summers since I'm born there, and it got 29 years. Still, I play here. Still, I play there.
love it. And then the summer you did quite a bit of hopping, if I remember.
Yeah, and the Eden gig is interesting because there I played there because I signed on a specific label who was showcasing themselves there, and that's the reason I got to play. So also signing on labels that has their own showcases, organizes their own events, is also a way to get played.
100%, and making sure when you get signed to the label that you do push them for gigs as well, because they're going to have a roster of artists, and the squeaky wheel is always the first to get oiled. So making
Yeah,
sure you're asking.
yeah.
After Eden, where did we go?
Madrid.
Yeah,
Ma-
and
This
I'll circle back to why I'm asking you this in a second. Madrid next.
Yeah, this gig, I think I remember it was a brand I was following, and I also started some side strategies like the DMs. And this event, it was like an event I DM'd like maybe 4 months back then, just saying like, hey, I like your event. Is there a way that I can play for you there or something like this?
Is this like when we in the outreach playbook? It may not be what you use, but
Yeah,
when we did the sliding into the DM strategy, where it's just kind of a gentle opener.
exactly.
Okay. Slid into the DMs. For anybody that's looking, go into the outreach playbook document and look at sliding into the DMs. There's loads of scripts there. Okay, slid into the DMs, and so that worked and converted into a gig.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'd love to hear it. Where was next?
And then France, it was a France event. And then I got a first like inbound request, sorry, for I played in Baku in Azerbaijan.
Okay.
It was actually one of the DJs that used to download my track that hit me up, him, and he was like, "Hey, we're looking for a DJ that date. I like your music. I've been downloading your stuff for a while. Are you available that date?"
I
And that
love it.
yeah, that was
Okay, so we got to the point where like gigs are breeding gigs, everything's rolling, and now the incomings are coming in. Like that's a pretty far flung place to get an income and book it from, right?
yeah.
How was that gig?
It was good, man. Really nice. Yeah, like I was the headliner, and yeah, it was really good. Like on the beach, maybe I think 400 people just on the beach, big beach club in Azerbaijan. With the sunrise, we played till 6 a.m. with the resident DJs. We connected so much that we're still chatting now. and he's actually trying to now get me to other places there. Yeah, so I built really good connections also from
Okay. Love it. So we're still on 2023 now, and like guys, I want to remind us what it was like in 2021. There was one gig every 8 weeks. So far, we've got Lisbon, Poland, Switzerland, Tomorrowland Mainstage, Ibiza, Madrid, France, and Azerbaijan. Where else did we go 2023?
after that I played Lisbon, and then Beirut in Lebanon,
Okay,
first Middle East show.
Lebanon.
Then I went back to France, played with Elke Klein, and then I did my first India tour. It was
India.
September 2023.
Okay, and you'll notice like you're playing a lot of these places repeat times. So you're flying over, back. I'm not listing those. I'm just listing new ones. Okay, so then we did the India tour. Any more?
2023? Yeah. Then I played Eden again. Then I went to Malta.
Beat that. Okay,
First
back to Malta.
first time there. And back to Paris. Then I played in Amsterdam for the first time for ADE.
Okay,
Two two gigs there for like label showcases.
love it.
Then I went to Dubai. That was an inbound in how do you say
Inbound, yeah,
inbound request. Then I went to Slovenia,
great place. Slovenia,
was inbound, and then I went to Costa Rica for two shows.
Costa Rica, and did that finish the year out?
No, I played on New Year's Eve again at in Lebanon.
Okay, I'm back to Lebanon. Okay, so we have Lebanon down there already. No, notice the way like you're back to France multiple times, back to Ibiza a number of times, back to France, back to Lisbon. But like that's the 2023 there. Uh, we got Lisbon, Poland, Switzerland, Tomorrowland Mainstage, Ibiza, Madrid, France, Azerbaijan, Lebanon, India tour, Malta, ADE, Dubai, Slovenia, Costa Rica. Like that's a pretty serious year for a fella that in the middle of 2021 was kind of not gigless, but just the standard every now and then.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so like what we want to look at is how much of this do you think came from strategy you just in the Instagram DMs?
Mm, Instagram DMs, I would say 20%,
Okay, where do you, where
maybe less,
let's break it down. We'll do IG DMs, okay, or 20% incoming.
maybe less. Like both, like me reaching out and incoming.
Okay, so yeah, so the Instagram DMs about 20%, but like let's say incoming gigs then, like the Azerbaijan and
Ah,
uh, an
then
email.
this maybe
Uh,
30% of incoming,
okay, and then how do we get the rest of them?
like just building relationships.
Building relationships. Uh, like it's literally what we talk about in the hit list. Like when I introduce people to the idea of a hit list, well, I think a lot of people get lost in the fact that they think it's 50 rows on a spreadsheet or 100 rows on a spreadsheet without thinking of it like 100 friends or 100 friends I haven't met yet or 100 friends that maybe I'll never book me, but they know three people that will book me, you know? And really, that's what a hit list is right there. It's the relationships. It's the, okay, you're a line on a row now, but I want to meet you and I want you to introduce me to your people and see what we can do together. And that's exactly what you've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so to bring in then the agent side of things, did an agent have a hand in any of this? Because I know there were some talks.
No, just for India.
Okay,
So yeah, it's
so India, we had an agent. Talk to me about that.
yeah. So to find him, I was looking at I was following I'm following a lot of artists, and I was seeing over time like constantly, okay, this artist doing tours, this artist doing tour. So I was like, okay, how do I get there? How do I tour there? And I understood that in India, it's quite mostly only doable with an Indian agent. So an agency that is there and it's gonna pitch to promoters and clubs there because it's a very specific market. So what I did, I reached out to few agencies that were doing artists on the similar range as me
Yeah.
at that time, and yeah, a few of them just hit me back and be like, "Yeah, let's talk about it." And one of the agency, they told me like, "Hey, we know your music actually because we're DJs as well. So yeah, of course we want to bring you." And then like 6 months later, it happened. Like first India tour, they were like, Yo, we pitched you. There's this club, this club, this club that are interested. We're let's making happen. We're doing it." And
Right.
now there are my like my contact for the India market. I only work with them now, and that's yeah. I just came back from it, and it was second tour, really amazing.
Okay.
So
And like as we say with these things, that's probably unless something like that's an annual tour probably in the bag for the next couple of years, you know?
oh
If you're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Like Australia works similar. You know, you won't really book separate gigs in Australia. You'll have one promoter that's usually like he'll book you for his event and then also manage your bookings for the other events because it just doesn't make sense to do them individually. And once you've got that one person, they're just bringing you back once a year and farming you out to different venues. And like that's how you're putting the tours together. But so like the beautiful thing about that is, I mean, that's still self-booked. Like I was gonna say all self-booked, and even though you've got an India agent that has got that for you, you reached out and you booked that agent through your own outreach.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I
You
did the
know,
same also with the US agent. I reached out to them like 2 years ago, I think, or no, maybe 1 year ago, and I reached out to them and I was like, "Hey, I want to tour US. I know what you're doing. I know that you're artists. Um, I think yeah, I want to work with you. Here's my background." And then at first they were like, "Okay, this guy is reaching out to us. Maybe." It was just conversation, you know. They didn't tell me like, "Hey, let's sign right now." Like it
I al-
took
I al-
them.
I al- I already have it written before, like before even knowing. It's never going to be the first time, right? It's always going to be in the follow up.
Yeah, yeah, like it took them a year to for me to just have them like a yes, you know, like okay, let's go. And and at that time I didn't even have the visa, you know, and they were like, "Okay, let's keep talking and let's see please send us like some updates, like what you're up to, your new releases every now and then, the tours." Like, yeah, of course, agents want to see if you're touring already, and and if you have like you know, some things to sell, basically, and the visa as well. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, no, because I know that's a process that you went through. Once you got the soft yes, you immediately moved on to your artist visa, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Which has taken how long? About a year?
It was more or less 6 months.
Okay,
6 months.
6 months. And now that's granted and
For
in
the
the
next
works.
3 years.
Okay, granted for 3 years. And really, you know the way that works. Like it's once you get that, I mean, yeah, for anybody that hasn't done it before, you kind of got to sell them on why you are like the next big thing or why it's good for America that you come and they don't
Yeah,
miss out on you. Right? Was that the vibe you got, Stone?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you know what happens. They grant it for 3 years, and at the 3 year point, they want to see where, well, was it a good bet? Was it a shit bet? And you know yourself, there's a lot of acts that just won't have made, they won't have put the effort in those 3 years. They want to book the gigs. Some may not even have tried, you know, and there'll be nothing. And so when the review comes up, they'll say, well, what you said in 3 years ago, is it true? Did it happen? Is there progress? And,
Mm-hmm.
and really, it all depends on what happens in those 3 years, whether they grant it again or not.
Right.
So, like judging from your 2023, if you keep if you keep the same progress up, I think you'll be fine. Uh, but it's definitely a work in progress. So,
Yeah.
where are we at then? What's it, does that bring us up to current day? Is there anything else that we're missing?
Um, Let me check. No, it's pretty much it. I mean, I just, yeah, 2024, I kept going with the tours. I did other markets as well. This year I went to Colombia, um, I went to Tunisia, I went to Mexico, Tulum, I went to Miami. I didn't play because I didn't have the visa, but I was still there to just
Still
connect
network.
with the people, network exactly.
And so, like when we're looking at taking 2023 and leveling that up, again, how many times do I say it? But it's gigs breed gigs. Like after your 2023, it's undeniable to a promoter when you reach out for them to see that you've got momentum and that it's a good idea to book you. So when we're looking at Colombia, Tunisia, Mexico, again, were these self-booked through Instagram, through email, through outreach? How did we lock those in?
So, Colombia was me actually. Okay, no, it was a so I had a friend already touring there and he gave me the contacts, but it didn't happen through them. I actually, yeah, like chatted. No, it was so there's also on top of like agents, there's also what we call middle buyers. So people they know the promoters, they're also organizing maybe their own stuff, but sometimes there are people who are just really good, very well connected, and they're gonna be like, okay, look, I can book you into that club, but you're gonna give me a percentage. But he's not your agent, right? So that's why we call it middle buyer. And it's exactly how I got, yeah, the Colombia shows.
Okay,
So
so you found like a connected middle buyer. They gave they pitched you to the main buyer and they took a little kickback.
exactly,
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Uh,
exactly.
and so okay, so what I want to do, we're on time. We're running over time on this. So I want to wrap it up with some usefulness, right? So like we're getting some comments. I think the story in general is pretty inspiring for people because I mean, it's not that long ago that you went gigging that often, and the gigs that we're seeing here, the cities that we're seeing, and these are good gigs, right, Stone? These are good clubs, good crowds, fun to play.
Absolutely. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Honestly,
So
all good gigs.
what would you say is like if you could give everybody on the call sort of three steps, three things. Let's start with the what's the most important thing that you would tell everybody to get on if they're not already on?
Like to really work on the, like the whole package, like the music, the relationships, um,
Like I
yeah,
like I like that you started with music because at the
yeah,
start of the call, the problem was you were being told by the major labels to do music that you didn't really love because A, it might game the system, it might get you plays, it might get you whatever. But really, everything that we've just run through here, all of these gigs, yet they came from being on Instagram and doing the outreach, but the outreach came from DJs playing your music. That's where we started. And what
yeah,
that's what I like about this because it boils down back to why we're all here. It's the creativity part, it's the music part. Without you releasing that music that you loved, stop releasing the stuff that you didn't love and nobody else was playing and actually go with your passion. Other people started picking it up and playing on it, and that really was the start of everything because other people are appreciating your creativity, the beautifulness that you're putting out in the world, the art. Like that's what it is. It's art. We forget it.
yeah.
You putting out your art, people appreciating it, and you being able to connect with those and building the relationships. And so, like when you say those two things to me first, I don't even think there needs to be another thing. It's you put out that
Okay.
music and the relationships came from that because there's that respect, isn't there? They respected you because they loved the music,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe put some outreach there, would we? Just to get
Yeah.
people to pick up the arse.
Yeah. 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 For sure. For sure.
Is there anything else you'd add?
Uh, I mean, no, for me that's it. But also, like, I started, at that time to be like more present on the social media, more content. It's also important to, yeah, look at this aspect because we have to play the game as well. Like you have to still be present and have like a solid profile on top of that on social, so like those people are able to see that, okay, there's stuff going on, um and agents can like sell you more easily as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we haven't touched on that on this call, but like what people forget, I think quite often is it's the hidden stuff. It's your profile was good, so when people listened to your music and checked you out, it didn't disqualify you. You know what people don't realize sometimes is they won't have put any love in their profile, and they'll never find out that somebody looked at their page and decided not to reach out to them or not to book them or not to chat to them because they didn't take them seriously. When you don't have your socials right, you kind of stop a lot of conversations that otherwise would have happened.
Yeah, true.
Heiko wants to know how long did the journey approximately in total from first action on Insta and SoundCloud to the point now where you're touring around the world? I think we covered that, didn't
Yeah, I mean, if it's the whole journey that we're talking about, it's like pretty much 2 years. um but if I want to talk like individually to each cases, I think it would take at between 3 to 6 months for each person to build that I connected with to get a booking. It's very unlikely that unless it's an inbound request and they're like, "Hey, are you available that day?" Then you say, "Yeah," you say no, whatever. Um, Building a relationship and getting gigs through that takes times, and yeah, you have to keep following up. That's also what we didn't mention so much, but there's many times where I had to follow up with like most of the people. Even my agents, like my Indian agents, my US agent at the moment, were just speaking on a weekly basis, like, okay, what's new? Well, do you have any new stuff we can sell? Like, you just have to keep showing that you're active and that you have new releases, new mixes, new stuff to the promoters, so they can be like, okay, there's something happening that we can sell to the people, so we can book you. Yeah.
you? Yeah, I love it. And like follow up, it's tough to do. I think people know that it's hard to keep following up and staying track on it and putting in that the long game.
Yeah, definitely. And now I started also working with a management team, so that, yeah, it's really recent, so I'm trying to delegate more stuff.
Okay, so we've signed management.
We started working. We're not on the signed contract yet, but we started.
Okay, so it's underway. Perfect.
Yes,
And the minute you've got that sorted, you can hand everything over. You'll have management, you'll have agents, and you can just focus on the music and the social.
exactly. That's the idea.
Okay, Rosita's asked, we'll wrap this up. Do you ever do LinkedIn email outreach? I think you tried that at the start, right? But if I remember, you preferred the Instagram DMs, right?
Yeah, yeah, I prefer Instagram DMs because the people see straight up, they can see straight up my profile, and I get better responses in
Yeah,
compared to email outreach. Because I tried also and it was just not working for me.
yeah. You were getting more conversations on Instagram where it was falling a bit flatter in the email inbox.
Yeah.
Love it. Uh, Okay, guys, will you, sorry for running over again, but just Stone had quite a lot to go through here and I wanted to make sure we shared it all with you. I absolutely love when I see it all coming together like this, dude, because I remember when you stepped in and where your momentum was at that point and watching it grow and grow and grow and get faster and faster and seeing the posts go up in social. It's been beautiful to watch. Um,
Thank you. Well, thanks to you, man.
yeah, but more than happy to help. More than happy to help. You did the work. So can everybody just let us know into the chat, please? What was most useful about today's session, please? What did you learn? What did you love? I've liked watching how you've implemented it in your own way, dude. Like I've really enjoyed watching how you've done the pitching through the Instagram DMs, having conversations, taking it away from pitching more into conversations, and then nurturing those relationships. Because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to actually do it and put in the hard miles and do it with numerous people at once. So, well done to you.
Thank you.
Joey says pushing SoundCloud bootlegs and using Insta for conversations. Good reminder, those hyped it download gates, will be revisiting those. Yeah, you should, especially if you got a back catalog you're not using anymore. Bootlegs don't get copyright strikes if they're free. Most useful is the work you did can be applied directly on my strategy. I love it. All of this can be applied for all of you guys. There's something here for everybody. Hearing how you went from zero to hero in such a short space of time. Yes, Kenny, 100%. And also, do you know the beautiful thing? How at the start, when we were looking at the two strategies, the first strategy was the one where you have to wait. You got to wait for a label to sign you, wait for it to get big, wait for promoters to reach out and give you the gig. There's a whole lot of waiting and not a whole lot of getting booked. But when he took it in his own hands, all of the work that's been done, he did himself. How fucking powerful is that? That you already have everything you need. Your computer, and the kick up the ass that you already gave yourself well before you arrived into fully booked. You have it all already. Seeing all of the summary gives a different perspective. Sue, happy for you. Well done. Great work. Okay, guys, can we unmute and just thank Stone? Appreciate him for his time.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers.
Thanks, Stone.
Cheers, Stone. Some man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for being here listening.
Superstar.
Love it, dude.
Love you guys.
Mega proud of all your progress. Loved watching it, and thanks for coming on here and sharing it with everybody. I know it'll give a kick up the arse to the people that need it. It gives some guidance to the people that were unsure of certain strategies would work. And always, just when you see somebody else do it, it gives you that belief that you can do it too. Because I mean, you can, right?
Absolutely. Anyone can.
Love it. Guys, we got Southern Fried Records joining us for a demo session this Friday at 1 p.m. inside the community. Usual link, this link that you used to get on this call will get you on the Southern Fried Records demo session. Aside from that, guys, can you unmute and just give each other some love for the weekend, please?
Take care, guys.
Take care, all.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
Good to
guys.
see everyone.
Get the work done.
Get it done. All right,
Don't
guys.
be me.
Thanks very much, Stone. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all.
Thank you, guys.
Have a
See
good
you
one.
later.
Thanks,
Adios.
Mikey.
Have a good
Cheers.
one. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Cheers.